What if I told you that one of the most powerful influences on your immune system is not a medication, not a supplement, and not something your doctor prescribes, but something living quietly inside your gut right now? And what if the foods you eat every single day are either feeding this internal defense system or slowly starving it? This may sound surprising, but it is not speculation. It is biology. In fact, some of the most fascinating research in cancer science today is not focused on destroying cancer directly. It is focused on strengthening the body's natural ability to keep abnormal cells under control. And at the center of this conversation is the gut microbiome. Especially for adults over 50, this matters more than ever. Because cancer does not suddenly appear out of nowhere. It develops gradually over years within a biological environment that either restrains it or quietly allows it to grow. For a long time we believed cancer was simply bad luck, a random genetic mistake, an unavoidable consequence of aging. But modern science tells a far more complex and far more hopeful story. Your body creates abnormal cells every single day. That is a normal part of cell division and aging. What determines health is not whether abnormal cells appear, but whether your immune system recognizes and removes them early. This process is called immune surveillance. When immune surveillance is strong, abnormal cells are eliminated silently before they can cause harm. When immune surveillance weakens, those same cells may survive long enough to multiply. And here is the part most people are never told. More than 70% of your immune system is directly connected to your gut. Not your bloodstream. Not your lymph nodes. Your gut. Inside your digestive system lives a vast, living ecosystem. Trillions of bacteria that have evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. They are not enemies. They are not contaminants. They are partners. These bacteria help digest food, manufacture vitamins, regulate hormones, and control inflammation. But perhaps their most important role is how they educate your immune system. Immune cells in the gut are constantly listening. They sample chemical signals produced by bacteria. They learn what is safe. They learn what is dangerous. And they learn when to respond and when not to overreact. This matters because cancer thrives in confusion. Chronic inflammation creates constant noise inside the body. It distracts immune cells. It drains their energy. And it reduces their ability to identify real threats. Imagine trying to hear a smoke alarm in a building where every alarm is ringing at once. That is what chronic inflammation does to immune surveillance. Certain gut bacteria help quiet that noise. They produce compounds that calm unnecessary inflammation. They strengthen the gut lining so toxins do not leak into the bloodstream. And they help regulate metabolic signals that influence immune focus. One of the most important groups of these compounds is called short-chain fatty acids. These molecules are produced when beneficial gut bacteria ferment dietary fiber. They act as messengers, telling immune cells when to stay calm and when to act decisively. Low levels of these compounds are associated with higher inflammatory stress. Higher levels are associated with better immune balance. This becomes especially important after the age of 50. As we age, immune systems become more sensitive to stress. Metabolism slows. Recovery takes longer. And chronic, low-grade inflammation becomes more common. At the same time, many modern diets unintentionally starve beneficial bacteria. Highly processed foods contain very little fiber. Low plant diversity reduces bacterial variety. Excess sugar and refined carbohydrates favor inflammatory microbes. Over time, this shifts the internal environment. Beneficial bacteria decline. Inflammatory species expand. Immune clarity weakens. This does not mean gut bacteria kill cancer cells directly. That would be misleading. What they do instead is far more important. They help create an internal environment where the immune system can function clearly, calmly, and effectively. This is why researchers now study the gut microbiome alongside cancer prevention and immune research, not as an alternative to medical care, but as a foundational support system. In several studies, individuals with healthier gut bacterial diversity show stronger immune responses. Some even respond better to immune-based therapies, not because bacteria are medicine, but because they support the body's own intelligence. And here is the encouraging part. The gut microbiome is adaptable. Changes in food choices can begin altering bacterial populations within days. Within weeks, immune signaling patterns can shift measurably. This is not about extreme diets. It is not about fear. And it is not about deprivation. It is about feeding the right organisms, so they can support you in return. Your body is not passive. It is constantly listening, constantly interpreting signals. and one of the strongest signals you send every single day is food. In the next section, we will explore which specific foods support these beneficial bacteria, and how simple, realistic choices, especially for adults over 50, can strengthen immune communication without extreme rules or false promises. If gut bacteria play such an important role in immune balance, the next natural question becomes this: what determines which bacteria thrive inside your body? The answer is surprisingly simple and empowering. Your gut bacteria eat what you eat. They do not respond to willpower. They do not respond to motivation. They respond to food. Every meal you consume sends instructions into your digestive system. Those instructions determine which bacterial communities grow stronger, and which ones slowly fade away. This is especially important after the age of 50. As we grow older, the diversity of our gut microbiome naturally declines. Digestive efficiency changes. Inflammation becomes easier to trigger, and the immune system becomes more sensitive to background stress. At the same time, many people unintentionally shift toward diets that are easier to chew, quicker to prepare, and more processed. Unfortunately, highly processed foods tend to nourish the wrong microbes. They are often low in natural fiber. They lack plant diversity, and they create spikes in blood sugar that favor inflammatory bacterial species. When this happens repeatedly, the internal balance begins to change. Beneficial bacteria, those that support immune clarity, begin to starve. Inflammatory bacteria, those that promote metabolic stress, begin to dominate. Over time, this affects how the immune system behaves. It becomes more reactive, more distracted, and less precise. This is why researchers now describe the gut microbiome as an immune-modulating organ. It is not just digestion. It is communication. One of the most important ways gut bacteria communicate with your immune system is through the production of bioactive compounds. Among the most studied are short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, acetate, and propionate. These compounds are produced when beneficial bacteria ferment dietary fiber, especially fibers found in whole plant foods. Short-chain fatty acids do several critical things. They help maintain the integrity of the gut lining, preventing inflammatory leakage into the bloodstream. They reduce unnecessary immune activation. They help immune cells regulate energy use. And they promote a calm, focused immune response. Low levels of these compounds are associated with higher inflammation. Higher levels are associated with better immune balance. This is one reason fiber intake becomes so important later in life. Not fiber supplements alone, but fiber diversity. Different bacteria prefer different types of fiber. Some thrive on leafy greens. Others prefer legumes. Some respond to whole grains. Others to nuts, seeds, and berries. When your diet includes a wide variety of plant-based foods, you support a wider range of beneficial bacteria. And diversity is strength. Fermented foods add another layer of support. Foods like yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, and fermented vegetables introduce beneficial microbes directly into the gut. These foods do not replace your existing microbiome. They reinforce it. They help stabilize bacterial communities. They improve microbial communication. And they enhance resilience against inflammatory shifts. Another important group of compounds comes from plant polyphenol. Polyphenol are natural chemicals found in foods like berries, green tea, cocoa, olive oil, herbs, spices, and colorful vegetables. Interestingly, polyphenol are not fully absorbed by the human body on their own. Instead, gut bacteria metabolize them. In the process, these bacteria grow stronger, and the compounds become more biologically active. It is a partnership. The bacteria benefit, and your immune system benefits. This helps explain why diets rich in whole, colorful plant foods are consistently associated with better health outcomes in population studies. Not because of one magic ingredient, but because they create an internal environment that supports balance. Importantly, this does not require perfection. Small, consistent changes matter more than dramatic overhauls. Adding one additional fiber-rich food per day. Introducing fermented foods a few times per week. Increasing plant variety gradually. These changes send new signals to your gut microbiome, and the microbiome responds. Studies show that measurable changes in bacterial populations can occur within days. Within weeks, immune signaling patterns can begin to shift. This is not about forcing the body. It is about reminding it how regulation feels. Another critical factor is blood sugar stability. Repeated spikes in blood glucose, often driven by refined carbohydrates and sugary foods, create metabolic stress. This stress influences gut bacteria composition. It promotes inflammatory species. and it interferes with immune focus. Balancing meals with fiber, healthy fats, and protein slows digestion. It reduces glucose spikes. And it supports a calmer internal environment. Again, this is not about restriction. It is about rhythm. Your body thrives on predictable, stable signals. Hydration matters as well. Adequate water intake supports digestion, bacterial metabolism, and gut motility. Dehydration slows these processes and increases stress signaling. Sleep also plays a role. Poor sleep disrupts gut bacteria composition. It increases inflammation. And it weakens immune communication. This is why gut health cannot be separated from overall lifestyle. Food, sleep, movement, and stress all influence the same biological systems. When these systems are supported, the immune system functions with greater clarity. And clarity is what allows immune surveillance to do its job. It is important to repeat this carefully. Gut bacteria do not replace medical treatment. They do not diagnose disease. And they do not act as a cure. What they do is support the conditions under which your body's natural defenses can operate more effectively. This is a crucial distinction, especially for adults over 50 who value science, realism, and safety. The goal is not to chase miracle claims. The goal is to strengthen resilience. In the next section, we will bring all of this together, exploring how these principles fit into a realistic daily pattern, why extreme approaches often backfire, and how working with your biology creates the best long-term outcomes. At this point, something important becomes clear. Health is not about fighting your body. It is about cooperating with it. For much of modern history, we have approached disease as an enemy to attack. And while medicine has saved countless lives, biology reminds us of something deeper. The human body is designed to protect itself, when given the right conditions. Cancer research increasingly shows that the immune system is not passive. It is constantly scanning, constantly evaluating, and constantly making decisions based on the signals it receives. One of the strongest sources of those signals comes from the gut. Not because gut bacteria are magical, not because food is medicine, but because the microbiome influences the environment in which immune decisions are made. When the body senses chronic stress, inflammation, and instability, it prioritizes survival. Resources are diverted. Repair slows. Precision declines. But when the body senses safety, nourishment, and balance, something remarkable happens. The immune system regains clarity. This clarity does not mean perfection. It means responsiveness. It means immune cells are better able to recognize abnormal behavior, better able to respond without overreacting, and better able to maintain long-term stability. This is especially meaningful after the age of 50. At this stage of life, many people feel that control has slipped away, that health is dictated by genetics or chance, that decline is inevitable. But biology tells a different story. Aging changes the body, but it does not silence its intelligence. Your immune system still listens. Your gut bacteria still respond. Your body still adapts. The signals simply matter more now. Extreme approaches often fail because they increase stress. They disrupt routines. And they send conflicting messages to the body. But simple, consistent patterns do something different. They tell the body, the environment is stable. Resources are available. Repair is allowed. This is why small daily choices carry such power. Adding fiber-rich plants, including fermented foods, reducing ultra-processed items, stabilizing blood sugar, prioritizing sleep. These are not dramatic actions. They are biological conversations. Each one tells your gut bacteria how to behave. Each one shapes immune signaling. Each one contributes to resilience. This is not about preventing every illness. That would be unrealistic. It is about improving the odds. It is about giving your immune system the best possible information, so it can make the best possible decisions. Modern research increasingly supports this perspective. The microbiome is now studied alongside immunology, metabolism, and longevity. Not as an alternative to medicine, but as a foundation beneath it. This integrated understanding represents progress. It moves us away from fear-based thinking and toward cooperation. Your body is not broken. It is responsive. And the conversation you have with it, through food, lifestyle, and consistency, matters deeply. Especially now. If there is one message to take away, it is this. You are not powerless. Every meal is a signal. Every habit is a message. And every day is an opportunity to support balance rather than chaos. This is not about chasing promises. It is about respecting biology. And when biology is respected, remarkable things become possible. Thank you for spending this time learning about how your gut, your immune system, and your daily choices are connected. If you found this information helpful, consider sharing it with someone you care about. And if you would like to continue exploring science-based approaches to immune health and longevity, stay curious and stay consistent. Because resilience is not built in a moment. It is built quietly one day at a time.